The impossible has happened. Donald Trump is back in the Oval Office. His inauguration was a spectacle. The crowd roared with cheers. Trump, with his signature swagger, took the oath of office. The date? January 20th, 2025. He wasted no time in making his presence felt. Executive orders flowed like wine at a Mar-a-Lago wedding. Trump, with a stroke of his pen, began to reshape America in his image. The political landscape, already fractured, braced for another 4 years of Trump. Allies cheered. Opponents braced for impact. The world watched, a mixture of amusement and apprehension in their eyes. The Trump show was back, and this season promised to be a roller coaster. One of Trump's first acts as president was to make a bold and controversial move. This decision sent shockwaves through the federal government, leaving many employees in disbelief. He specifically targeted diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI programs, which had been a cornerstone of many federal initiatives. With the fury of 1,000 Twitter rants, Trump signed an executive order that would change the landscape of federal employment. All federal DEI employees were placed on paid leave, effective immediately, causing widespread confusion and concern. DEI offices across government agencies were shuttered, leaving many to wonder about the future of these important programs. The message was clear. Trump's America had no room for what he considered woke initiatives, and he was determined to make that known. This move was met with immediate backlash from various quarters, including civil rights groups and activists. Civil rights groups denounced the decision, calling it a step backward for equality and justice. Legal challenges were swift and fierce, with many organizations ready to fight the order in court. Trump, however, remained unfazed. He defended his actions, claiming DEI programs were divisive and unnecessary, and that his decision was in the best interest of the nation. The battle lines were drawn, with supporters and detractors ready to clash over the future of DEI in America. The fight for the soul of America, it seemed, had begun anew, with both sides gearing up for a long and contentious struggle. In a move that shocked even his staunchest supporters, former President Donald Trump issued a series of controversial pardons. Trump pardoned those convicted for their roles in the January 6th Capitol riot, a day that will forever be etched in American history. The announcement came during a primetime address from the Oval Office, where Trump appeared defiant and unapologetic. Trump, his voice booming, declared the rioters patriots who had been treated unfairly, insisting they were merely exercising their right to protest. The reaction was immediate and explosive, with protests erupting across the nation. Democrats were outraged, accusing Trump of inciting further violence and undermining the justice system. Republicans, caught between their base and their conscience, struggled to respond, finding themselves in a precarious position. Some offered muted criticism, while others remained silent, wary of alienating Trump's loyal supporters. The pardons further deepened the political divide in America, exacerbating tensions that were already at a boiling point. Trump, it seemed, was intent on pouring gasoline on the fire, fueling the flames of division and discord. The rule of law, once a cornerstone of American democracy, seemed to be crumbling under the weight of political expediency, leaving many to wonder about the future of the nation. Trade wars reignited, China tariffs loom. As if domestic turmoil wasn't enough, Trump set his sights on China. His administration had long accused China of engaging in unfair trade practices, including intellectual property theft and forced technology transfers. This move was seen as a bold step to address these grievances. Citing unfair trade practices and national security concerns, he announced his intention to impose a 10% tariff on all goods imported from China. This sweeping measure was aimed at reducing the trade deficit and protecting American industries. The tariffs, he declared, would go into effect in February, just weeks away. The announcement set off a flurry of activity in both political and business circles, as stakeholders scrambled to prepare for the impending changes. The business community reacted with alarm. Companies that relied heavily on Chinese imports began to assess the potential impact on their supply chains and profit margins. Warnings of economic instability and rising consumer prices flooded the media. Analysts predicted that the tariffs could lead to higher costs for everyday goods, affecting consumers across the country. China, not one to back down, threatened retaliatory tariffs of its own. Beijing's response was swift and stern, signaling that they were prepared for a prolonged trade battle. The world watched nervously as the two economic superpowers squared off. The escalating tensions between the US and China had far-reaching implications, with global markets reacting to every new development. The global economy, already fragile, braced for impact. Economists warned that a full-blown trade war could push the world into a recession, affecting jobs and growth worldwide. Trump's penchant for economic brinkmanship had returned with a vengeance. His aggressive stance on trade was a hallmark of his presidency, and this latest move underscored his willingness to take risks on the global stage. A glimpse into a tumultuous future. In the first weeks of his new term, Trump had already shaken America to its core. His actions, driven by a potent mix of grievance, vengeance, and political opportunism, left the nation deeply divided and uncertain of its future. The world looked on, a mixture of fascination and horror in its eyes, as America teetered on the brink. The Trump show was back, and this season promised to be a wild ride. The only question was, would America survive the encore,